Welcome to this Nexa video. This video is aimed at the Nexa administrators who design new workflow processes. Today, we will see in detail how to customize the WF email app to fit the needs of any workflow. With the help of this app, Nexa workflows can send automatic emails that follow the development of a process instance. In order to better understand how to use the WF email app, we will make use of 5 examples. In the first example, the WF email app will send emails to the assignees of the first activity at the time when the administrator creates the instance of the workflow. In the second example, we will see how Nexa can notify to a group of users that a specific process has been completed. In the third example, we will see how to build an operation that sends emails to all the successors of an activity as soon as that activity has been sent forward. In the fourth example, we address the case in which an activity is sent back, and we want Nexa to communicate with an email to the assignees of the activity that needs to be reworked. In the final example, we will see how to build operations that send emails customized for each recipient. Configuring the behavior of the WF email app involves 4 files. They are the general Nexa configuration file, 1 or more resource files that specify the properties of the emails, 1 or more template files that describe the email bodies, the distribution list files that identify the Nexa users that need to be notified. The locations of these files will be important for the configuration process, and we will show them in the following part of the video. First, let's see the position of the wfemail.exe file, in charge of sending the emails. We go to the Nexa installation folder, then bin, x86, and 3. The WF email app can be used in conjunction with the Nexa workflows in an easy way. All we have to do is to edit one activity, select the Operations tab, click on the plus button. At this point, 2 boxes become editable. We need to enter the location and name of the WF email app in the left box, while the right-hand box is reserved to the arguments that we want to pass to the app. The Nexa workflow guide contains a complete list of all the possible customization arguments. Please notice that there are 2 mandatory fields. The first one is the process ID argument that clarifies to the app the ID of the calling process. The second argument instructs the WF email regarding the activities where we want to send the emails, so that Nexa can check their assignees and email addresses. The activity ID argument is passed when we are sending the emails to the users in charge of the successor activities, while the activity ID back is used when we want the operation to send emails to those users that need to rework on their activities. We can omit these 2 arguments if we use a distribution list, since it specifies directly the names of the recipients. It is now time to see the information that needs to be inserted in the CMS file. This is a general Nexa configuration file, and it also contains the SMTP parameters that control the workflow emails. Among the information that you need to enter, there are the SMTP host, the username, and the password. These configurations need to be inserted only once, and they are valid for all the workflows. We attach an example of a pre-configured CMS site file and all the other configuration files as support material to this tutorial. Please contact the nexa-support@essicplm.com for any further question, like, for example, those concerning the username or password. The CMS site file was saved in the computer running the Nexa server at the time of the Nexa installation. It is in the resource directory of the Nexa installation folder. In the same location, one can also find a so-called resource file that contains the general email configuration parameters. The default resource file is called wfemail_site. You can use different resource files by using the -res file argument followed by the path of the new resource file. The name of the resource file is not important, and you might want to build a few of them in case you want to send customized emails to different assignees. Let's have a look at its content. 2 of its important parameters are the host name, the name of the server on which Nexa is running, and the port of the broker. The default one is 5400. You should also insert the information regarding the server, including login name and password. Also, the body of the emails is controlled here, either by entering directly one by one the lines of the email, or by inserting the position of an email template file as shown here. During the Nexa installation, 2 files were inserted in the resource folder. These are the default email templates for the email bodies, mailmessage1.mtf and mailmessage2.mtf. Let's see the first one, As you can see, it is possible to add some special keywords that take a different value according to the specific workflow process or activity. The general syntax includes a $sign at the beginning of the variable. All the possible keywords and their meaning is explained extensively in the workflow guide. After looking at the configuration files, we can see some use cases. In the first example, we want Nexa to notify with an email the assignee of the first activity when a process instance is issued. For this purpose, we built a workflow process called Email Pre-Operation. We right-click on the Start activity and we select it. We go to the Post Operations tab and we look at the present configuration. Please remember that the Start activity is special. Its operations are activated either when an instance of the process is created, the pre-operations, or after the completion of the process, the post-operations. For this reason, we have inserted the path of the WF email app in the left box of the pre-operations, and we added the two mandatory fields in the right-hand box that specify the process ID and the ID of the activities where to send emails. Be sure to save any change of a workflow before proceeding. Now, we create a new instance of this process by going to Desktop, pressing New, Workflow. We select the email pre-operation and we click on Create. At this point, there is a new instance of the process. For this reason, Nexa activates the WF email app that sends an email to the first assignee. When we have a look at the email, we can see that the content of the email is directly related to the present workflow. In the second example, we want to see how to notify a group of users that a particular workflow process has been completed. That is, all the required activities have been executed. We go to the Administration tab and we click on Workflow Process. We right-click on the previous workflow and we select Copy. As a new name, we enter Notify After Completion. We click on Save and Activate to be able to create instances of this workflow. We select the square icon corresponding to the start activity of the process and we edit it. We select the Operations tab and we add a post operation. We copy and paste the path of the WF email app. The argument data has to be a bit different. In this case, all the activities of the workflow have been completed, and thus there is no successor to be notified. For this reason, we have to specify the recipients by using a distribution list. This is obtained with the flag -dl file, followed by the path to the distribution list file. We click on Save and Activate. Please notice that more than one operation is perfectly valid, and in the present example, we had both a pre-operation and a post-operation associated with the start activity. Since we have just used the distribution list, let's have a detailed look at it. It is a simple text file that should contain a list of Nexa users, one above the other. Please check that these users have an associated email. In the distribution list, we have to enter the full name of the users, not their login names nor the email addresses. Nexa will get this information automatically. The third example of this tutorial regards a common case where we want Nexa to notify the assignees of the successor activities that the present one has been completed and they can start their assignments. In this case, the emails will have very similar bodies. The only differences will regard any reference to the activity to be performed. We go to the workflow process entry in Nexa and we select the process we built for this purpose. We right-click on Activity 1 and we select it. In the post operations, we click on the plus sign at the right of the Trigger on Send Forward area. The script name is the same of the other examples. The argument data that we enter is slightly different. On top of the two mandatory entries regarding the process ID and the activity ID, we also enter the -res file keyword followed by the path to the WF email _site file. This is not necessary since Nexa automatically fetches the default resource file. We also added the -verbose and -no users flags. Please refer to the manual for more information about them. Notice that we do not have to worry to select all the successors of the present activity. Nexa and WF email automatically retrieve this information and distribute the emails to all of them. The fourth example is the opposite of the one that we just saw. In this case, the user of the present activity decides that it is better to send back the process for some rework. Also in this case, Nexa can notify via email the assignee of this activity. We go to the process we built for this purpose and we edit the last activity. In the post operations, we see that the entries regarding the trigger on send backwards are filled with information. As usual, the script name does not change with respect to the other examples, while there is an important difference in the arguments. In this case, the activity ID is obtained with a different flag, -actID_back, $activity ID_back. since we want Nexa to send the email back to the activity chosen by the current user. Let's see what happens by following the actions of the user of the last activity. As we see from the tick signs, the activity 1 and 2 have been completed, while activity 4, assigned to Simon Knight, is still in progress. The assignee of activity 4 clicks on Work, Work List, and selects the activity. He clicks Send Back. Nexa asks him to select how far back the process should go. The user wants the process to go back to the first activity. As a result, Paul Moll, who is in charge of this activity, is going to receive a notification email. Nexa automatically checks the ID of the activity to be rewarded, its assignee, the associated email address, and passes this information to the WF email app that sends the email. The last example that we want to explore regards the case where we want to send completely different emails to two assignees following an activity. We right-click on Activity 1 and we edit it. In the post operations, we see that there is one script and the corresponding argument data is a bit longer than the other examples. In it, we have specified both a distribution list and a specific resource file. We see that there is also a second post operation, where the distribution list and resource file are different. Let's check in detail the structure of this argument data. We passed a specific distribution list that contains the name of one of the assignees of the successor activities. This ensures that the email will be sent only to this user. The resource file specified in the argument data contains the path to the template message to be sent to the assignee. This template message is customized for the user that is going to receive it. We add the second operation similar to this one, where the arguments refer to files customized for the second assignee. As a result, if one wants to send different emails to different users, the customization should start from the argument list and include all the configuration files. Summing up, we introduced the WF email app for automatic email notifications and its configuration files. Later, we showed 5 examples on how to use it. In the first example, the notification email was sent directly at the time of the process creation. In the second example, the email was sent to a group of users at the time of the process completion. In the third example, we saw how Nexa can send emails to all the successors of the present activity. And similarly, in the fourth example, this was performed at the time of a sendback. The last example regarded the case where we wanted a complete customization of the emails to be sent automatically to the successors of an activity. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so that you won't miss any Nexa update. Thanks for watching.